What do we want? Tuners. When do we want them? Now. If you're anything of a guitar nut like me, you like your guitar accessories. Pause for a riddle. What's got two thumbs and loves clip-on tuners? This guy. So check it out. I'm a big fan. Big fan of clip-on tuners. If you could save me some space on my pedal board, I like it. I like to leave the pedal board for the crazy sounds, not necessarily for tuning. Even though, admittedly, pedal board tuners usually the most reliable, most stable, and I mean, like, I got one built into my unit. I get it, and I agree. But clip-on tuners, man, there's something to be said about them. Convenience, ease of use, immediacy. This is a new invention. This is something that only became a thing in the last decade. So it's fairly new, but we've made great strides in the field of clip-on tuners. And what I would like to do is have a shootout between my 3 favorite clip-on tuners, which happen to be from the same company. Now, before we go into this, I mean, I've had almost every clip-on tuner except for the Polytune. I've had the Delta Lab tuner, and it's pretty good. It's versatile. The only thing I don't like about this is how it could detach really easily from the head thing. I don't know what the point of that was, but it works. It's a functional tuner and it's good. There's also the very popular, best-selling clip-on tuner, the Snark Tuner. I heard from somebody who is close friends with the guy in charge, basically, at Snark, and they said that the Snark Tuner is supposed to last you quite a while. So much so that you don't have to change your batteries in quite a while. Mine don't work, and I gotta replace the battery. It's a headache, basically, is what I'm saying, is when you got tuners that don't work. That is until I found out about a little company called Kliq music gear. Now, Kliq came on my radar because of a guitar strap, and I'm gonna make a separate video about that guitar strap because it really does deserve its own video. But I dig Kliq because they make high-end music accessory gears for the working musician. So over here what I have are 3 separate tuners that I wanted to do a shootout between and let you know which are my favorites and why and for what use, right? Because some of them perhaps might not be for every situation. And the first one is Kliq's Echo Tuner. Bam. The second one is called the Pro Tuner. Bam. If you're asking why I like to keep the plastic on, for safety reasons. And last but not least, we have the Ultra Tiny Tuner. Bam. So I've had these 3 clip-on tuners from Kliq for... So I've had these 3 tuners for about 3 to 4 months now, and that's adequate enough time for me to get to know them, their ins and outs. I've used them during rehearsal sessions, during recording sessions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my opinion on these 3 different tuners from Kliq and tell you which one you might want depending on what your needs are. So we're going to start off with the tuner that probably catches your eye the quickest, and that is the smallest tuner, and that is the Ultra Tiny Tuner from Kliq. The first thing you'll notice is how small the Tiny Tuner is compared to pretty much any tuner out on the market. It's very discreet, it's very small. I mean, this is the size of the Snark, you know, just the face of it, and that's the Tiny Tuner right next to it. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculously small. My thing with this is that it is fairly cool to use on the go. So believe it or not, this tuner I always have on my GS Mini because my GS Mini is my sort of on-the-go guitar. Whenever I have to meet up with friends or if I have to just go outside, just for travel, nothing serious, I have it right on the back, right there. I don't know if visibility is a deal breaker for a lot of people, but you can't really see the tuner because of how small the clip and the tuner itself both are. They're fairly microscopic, hence the name. So yeah, it's fairly inconspicuous. I just turned it this way so you could see how it looks. Yeah, that's A. Quick, responsive. There we go, yeah. No issues. I think for the portability and for like the sheer size, like look at that. It just folds in the back like voila. And it's small and ergonomic enough that it looks cool. And another cool thing about this is how they have like a 360 turny thing. I don't know what it's called, but it's good. Like I could show you guys the tuner and then I could spin it for myself. And now you can't see it. I usually don't like plastic for my musical gear. But I mean, so far I gotta say, this plastic seems to be strong and durable enough. Next up we have the Pro Tuner. Now this Pro Tuner basically is every kind of tuning functionality that you would ever need, you've got right here. And it's running off batteries. It's got 3 modes. It's got power, A for tuning, and then you could change the display of the tuning. So those are the 3 buttons right there. I gotta say, the first thing that struck me was, remember how I just said about the tiny tuner, I don't like plastic? This is not plastic. This is full-on metal. So if you could see this clip right here, that's a metal clip. It's also kind of like a case of be careful what you wish for, because it kind of doesn't look stylish. That's the weirdest thing for a guitar player to say. But like when I first saw it, I'm like, huh, what an interesting design, because it kind of looks like those paper clips that you have in offices that would hold papers together. I mean, like, that's kind of what it looks like to me. If you're a function over fashion kind of guy, this clip, it's metal and it's 100% real deal. And then it's kind of also on a ball bearing here, so that you could spin the tuner itself, so you could orient it in whatever way you want. Really, when you're playing guitar, you're not going to have the tuner facing away from you. So, I mean, it's not designed to show other people what your tuning is supposed to be. So, there you have it. Now, that is what the tuner looks like. What is cool about this is that it does actually tune very, very, very well. I'm not taking the plastic off. I'm sorry. I like keeping the plastic on my stuff because it makes it, in my mind, I feel like I'll damage it less. And I need my stuff to last, you know what I mean? As you can see, it's picking up the E as being low. So if I tune it up, boom, a little high now. But now what's cool about this is that you can set and you can customize the display of the actual tuner itself. Ah, now the display has changed. It's telling me to go to the right, which means I'm lower. There we go. In tune. Now I'm at A flat. There we go. Etc., etc. And then you have the other display options, which is this. Isn't that cool? It's really hard to tune and not look at the tuner, but we'll get this. Too high. See, now it's going to the high part. See, the reason why I didn't experiment with these different displays is that I just need something simple. I don't need something that looks cool, personally. Or maybe I'm just slow. Maybe that's what it is. Then we have another display, I think. Yeah, this is just more straightforward. This is the display that I use. Simple. Boom. Like it, love it. It's got some other features. You can totally change up the mode from going from guitar to chromatic to ukulele to you name it. And you could also change the pitch from A440 to whatever you want. If you want to experiment with where you, in the hertz frequency range, you can tune your guitar to. With this, you can do it to 440, obviously, but the lowest it'll go is 430, and the highest it'll go is 450. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Delta Lab goes past 450, goes up to 460, and it goes down to 410, right? Oh, that's why I don't like the f***ing Delta Lab one. That's why we're using Kliq tuners. Anyway, back to the Pro Tuner. It's solid. It's probably the best all-in-one tuner you can ask for in a clip-on tuner. But, alas, there can only be one. And I think this is, out of all the three, I think this one's my favorite. It's called the Echo Tuner. And the Echo Tuner is really unique because it is a USB-powered tuner. That's right. Just like your cell phone, this one does not run on any batteries. It runs off USB power. Mine is full and loaded. This is probably the tuner that I use the most. This is super portable, super stylish, super sleek. This is super functional, super effective, super accurate. This one, in my opinion, for me and what I do, was just right. And I'll explain why. So the cool thing about this is that it is clearly form-fitting. Looks cool, doesn't look out of place. Picks up the note very, very well. Now that's interesting. See what's happening there? It's going between an E and a B. Why is it saying B? But as you can see, even though it shows the B, I don't know why it does that, but it still shows you the right note, which is good enough. It doesn't happen with every other string, which is super important. There we go. Super simple. You don't have the options to switch the display. I guess a lot of people might like that. For me, I'm something of a tuning simpleton, I suppose. I like it simple, straightforward, nothing fancy. You can also change the setting from guitar to ukulele to chromatic to bass as well. Yeah, you could also change the pitch. The pitch goes from 450 to 430 as well. So 430 to 450 rather. So this one's my favorite because of the form factor, the sleek look, the accuracy, despite the B thing, which is weird, and how long the battery lasts. The battery, or I guess the charge, lasts quite a significant amount. I know that I've used it for a full week without having to recharge, and I've been writing and recording quite a lot. So that's a huge plus. So we may be in something of a clip-on tuner renaissance, and if that's the case, I'm fairly confident when I say I feel that Kliq music gear is leading the way. Let me know in the comments, which tuner did you guys prefer? Is there one that you think is more appropriate to your needs as a guitar player? Are you a teacher? Are you a performer? I guess nobody's really a performer right now, but if you're watching this in the future, you're probably performing. In which case, which one do you want? Which one fits your style more so? I got all three because I have a lot of guitars that could use a tuner, but the Echo tuner, that's the one I prefer the most. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like if you liked this video, subscribe if you wanted to, and I will see you next time.